Hi, it's Dave again from MarketBuy, online offer management system. So today, what I thought I'd do is a really quick video. I get a lot of questions from a lot of agents around the country, and many of those questions are the same thing. So I often tell people the same thing over and over again, and spend a lot of time in explaining some of the concepts around why our program works really well. And while we're seeing some agents around the country getting some excellent results and some really outstanding results with it, I think the first misconception or the first myth I'd like to cover is that this, in any way, shape or form, is designed to replace real estate agents. One of the things that I've really learned, and one of the things that is absolutely true about managing any sort of sale process, is that agents are incredibly important. What we've found is it's really critical that an agent stays involved. And this is in no way, shape, form, intent meant to be a buyer management system. It is absolutely critical that an agent maintains buyer contact, buyer management insofar as they are continuing to talk to them, to find out what the levels of interest are, to find out where they sit in any transaction at any given time. And I think, as we all know as agents, that every single sale is different. Every time we put a property up on the market, we don't know what sort of response it's going to get. We don't know what sort of buyers we're going to attract to it. Buyers have their own idiosyncrasies and their own desires, and that all has to be managed by the agent during the course of the sale process. It's really important that whatever system you put in place, that you're able to adapt and change to market forces, buyer demands, buyer reality, price reality, all those type of things that we all deal with as real estate agents on a day-to-day basis. So it's a really important point. This is not a buyer management system. What this does do really effectively, though, is it does provide a method to disseminate information to all stakeholders in a transaction in a really quick, in a really simple fashion. So let me give you an example. We've all had the situation in real estate where we are negotiating with a buyer. We've had a buyer put an offer in on a property. We have that situation where we're negotiating in good faith. We might be going backwards and forwards with counter offers and offers over the course of 24 hours or 2 days or whatever the case may be. And then out of the blue, out of nowhere, we get a second buyer that pops their head up out of the woodwork and says, hey, you know what? I'd like to buy that property. I had a look at it a few days ago. My wife and I have had a think about it, and it's something that we're really interested in. And you have that situation as an agent, that gut drop situation as an agent, where you've got to explain to them, you go, well, that's great. I do have to let you know that we have been negotiating with another buyer in good faith over the last couple of days. So you will be the second buyer in, and it will become a multiple offer situation. What we're going to need you to do is put in your very best and your very highest offer, and we'll submit all of that level of interest to the vendors over the next 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever the case may be. First thing that buyer thinks is, yeah, right. Agents say this all the time. That's just more sales speak. Then you have to ring back this first buyer and say, look, I know we've been negotiating for a couple of days. I've done the very best I can to try and get to some sort of resolution or some sort of acceptable price. However, we haven't quite got there, and now we've got a second buyer that wants to submit an offer for the property. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to make your very best offer. I'm going to ask you to do that over the next 48 hours. We're going to go and see the owner. We're going to submit both offers, and whoever's got the highest wins. I can't tell you what the other person's going to offer. I can only tell you that you need to put in your very best and highest price. Now, clearly from there, you have another situation where a buyer throws their hands in the air and says, you got to be kidding me, mate. Like, that's just more sales speak. It's more, agents say this stuff all the time. And whether they believe you or not, there is that initial point of disconnect. There's that negativity gets dragged into the sales process where, suddenly you've got to justify what you're doing, and you have to justify the fact that there is a second buyer, and you have to create credibility around what you do. Now, some agents are better than that at others, but even the very best agents in the marketplace still have that point where they have to convince both buyers that what they're saying is legitimate. They then have to explain the process of how they're going to present multiple offers. Invariably in these situations, the process that most agents will take is that they will ask their buyers to submit their highest and best offer. From a buyer's point of view, it's quite a confronting situation to be in. You don't have any thing to aim at. You don't have any price. In the back of your mind, you're always, irrespective of how much you like and trust the agent you're dealing with, you have that in the back of your mind where you think, like, is this legit? And am I going to pay too much? Like, I don't want to be the bunny that pays 20 grand more than the next guy. I don't want to be the guy that spends 30 grand more than the next guy. So what happens is you're negotiating from a point of weakness. You now have buyers that have got those walls that have been built up, that negativity that you're working against, that negativity that you're trying to overcome to make sure that they put in their best price. And it's kind of a difficult situation for most people to sell real estate in. And as I say, some agents are better at it than others, but I think, you know, what we do is as agents in that situation is we make it incredibly difficult for people to interact with us and consume as consumers to purchase property. That's not our job. Our job as real estate agents is to utilise modern technology the best way we can to provide an easy, simple solution for buyers to engage in a home and purchase it. The easier we make it for buyers and the more credibility around any sort of process that we put in place, the greater the chance that you'll get people willingly, enthusiastically competing for a property. In that situation, it really does become very much a communication tool. It very much becomes a tool that allows, as I say, all stakeholders in a transaction to be delivered the same information at the same time. So as a buyer makes an offer, any other interested buyers that have registered for the sale are also made aware of the offer. Agents are made aware of the offer at the same time that vendors are made aware of the offer. And you can then work on what's really important. And what's really important in those situations is to make sure that everyone's given a fair and reasonable chance to put in their best foot forward, to make sure that they've got every opportunity, some time to think, make sure they've got every opportunity to submit their best price. From a vendor's point of view, they can see how successful you are as an agent in creating competition. You know, I think for many, many years as real estate agents, we've all talked about how we get the best price, how we get the highest price. And I'll cover a little bit on that from a listing point of view in some later videos. But for now, suffice to say, let's just take it as a given that if every agent's saying the same sort of thing, you know, there's a certain amount of distrust, there's a certain amount of disbelief from a vendor's point of view, whether that's actually the case. In this instance, using something that's very open and very transparent and provides an offer management system online, we can ensure that the vendors know that we are creating competition, we have legitimate buyers. It's not something that we've just said to them over the phone. And even from an owner's point of view, we tell them we've got 2 or 3 people interested. In a lot of cases, they're wondering if that's really true. But if we can show them that there's registered buyers on site, that people, even if they've not yet made offers, but they are watching a sale or they have, you know, submitted a registration to compete for a property, you know, we can give them a really full and complete picture of where the property's sitting in the marketplace. And the opposite is also true. If you have a situation where there are no buyers registered, you know, you can certainly come back to an owner and say to them, look, we've submitted this property to the marketplace. We've run it through realestate.com. We've got some really good marketing in place. We've had some decent numbers through and open for inspection. But for whatever reason, buyers aren't submitting offers. Now, generally, if buyers aren't submitting offers on a property, in a lot of cases, it's price that's the issue. And once again, if you've got 2 or 3 people that have registered to watch the sale, but no one's put their hand up, you know, you can make a really clear case with your owners that price is the impediment or the barrier that you've got in that sales transaction that's stopping people from taking the next step to purchase a property. And you can start to have those really market-based discussions with them as to what needs to happen next in order to spur people along to the next step as far as making offers go. So what we find with an offer management system, and we've seen sales now run in almost every state of Australia, is that this is not a replacement for what you do in your professional capacity as a salesperson. What this does do is support you with providing a level of openness and transparency and communication back to all the participants in a sale to ensure that everyone knows exactly where they stand at any given time. And from a buyer's point of view, all they need to do is fill out a registration form and they're free to submit their offers, provided that registration is approved by the agent. The agent has given them the okay to go ahead. then they're free to make offers from any location they've got access to an internet-capable device. Rather than dragging people into the office, making them sign up, go through a ream of paperwork and a ream of different documentation, rather than then sending them away and doing the same thing 2 or 3 times with 2 or 3 buyers, rather than making all those same phone calls where we have to tell them to all put in their very best price, and everyone has to have their offers in within a certain amount of time so it can be submitted to an owner. We can go back to them and just provide a registration link. Sign up, place your best foot forward. If you see other competition, feel free. Feel free to make additional offers. If at any point in time you are the only buyer, then we have the ability through the system to provide counter offers on behalf of the vendor. So we can get into active negotiations and we can give you an opportunity to come to terms and conditions and price that are suitable for you. And obviously suitable for the owner. So for many, many reasons, this provides a really easy and simple way to conduct real estate transactions. We remove the barrier of distrust. We remove the barrier of credibility. We remove the barrier of geography as far as people needing to attend your office. We can allow them to engage in a sale in a way that, let's face it, they are infinitely more comfortable with. And isn't it important as real estate professionals that we provide a medium to our consumers that they're comfortable with, that they're used to? It doesn't take Einstein to see. You can go to any doctor's surgery, dentist office, Medicare office. It doesn't matter where you go these days. Trains, buses. But anywhere you see people congregating, even if they're in a social environment with friends, a large number of them have their face buried in a device of one type or another, whether it be an iPhone or a smartphone or an iPad. People are constantly hooked into the net. They're checking their Facebook, they're checking their emails, they're checking to see what their friends are up to, they're checking Snapchat and Instagram and Google searches and web pages and apps and games, and the list is endless. But the reality is these days that the vast majority of the consumers that we're dealing with are almost 24 hours a day engaged in an internet-capable device of one type or another. Now, rather than fight that trend, because I think we're well past that stage, I think we can all accept that that's just the reality of the modern world these days, isn't it important as salespeople who are tasked and paid a decent amount of money, I might add, to professionally represent our clients? Isn't it important that we take the sales process to a medium and interface that they are already massively comfortable with? Doesn't it make sense then that if we have that level of interest or we have some interest in a property, that we're able to provide a format for those buyers to tap into their device, make an offer, see responses, and have that communication delivered directly to them in a way that they're already communicating on a varied number of other different transactions and social media and all the rest of it. And that's what this online system does, is we're making the whole sales process simpler, more transparent, and more than that, more convenient and inclusive and engaging. And that's the real key here. We're saying to people that we understand that this is the way you want to interact with the wider world. This is the way you want to transact. This is the way you buy your movie tickets. This is the way you purchase knickknacks. With Amazon coming out and just being their warehouse and their storeroom just opening and the Amazon website going live, we're going to see it even more and more. If it's not already a blanket reality in our society, we're going to see it more and more. The agents that are able to take tools like ours, and obviously there are others on the market, but take tools like ours and master them in its infancy, when the industry, the online offer industry, is still relatively new and relatively raw. For those people who are able, those agents out there that are able to take this and master it, you'll stand yourself head and shoulders above your competitors in years to come. Now, the reality that we're seeing is some of the large franchises, with some exceptions, I will certainly suggest, but most of the large franchises are very, very comfortable in their position in the real estate transaction. They have reasonable levels of market share. What they're doing now is certainly working, and the way that they're conducting their sales. And some examples of that are in Victoria. Most of the large franchises will significantly push auctions. Auctions as the preferred method of sale. Now that's all well and good today. That's all well and good right now. But we're quickly coming to a time when we're going to struggle to compel people to show up on a Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and stand in a really uncomfortable environment. Because the reality is that you want to get a buyer to turn up and stand in front of 30 or 40 people that they don't know and make them the center of attention, where the auctioneer picks them out of a crowd once they've made a bid. The auctioneer talks to them to try and spur them along to further bidding. That is just the absolute epitome of being uncomfortable for most people. Then we also make them make those decisions in split seconds. People hate that stuff, and they'll do it now because they have to. But the time is really, really quickly coming when they don't have to. And if they don't have to and there's a choice, you'll find a lot of buyers will opt for the easier choice. Now that doesn't mean to say that we need to give up the notion of competition or the notion of having the same sort of values that fuel an auction in any other format. It just means that we need to be listening to our consumers, and we need to be ensuring that we are providing access to sales in a way that they want to interact with us. Now, by doing that, you're absolutely looking after your owners, because from your owner's point of view, the very simple, I guess the simple way to put that is that you are providing sales to them, or sales for them to their buyers, that will ensure that you're creating the maximum amount of credibility, the maximum opportunity to participate, and the easiest way for people to engage in the sale. You're not putting any artificial roadblocks in the way that will stop a buyer from turning up, participating, or making an offer. And that's the real key here. For the agents that have really taken this on board and have run with it, we've seen some stunning results, some outstanding results. And there are a number of agents around Australia right now who are developing an incredible level of expertise in this type of selling. Predominantly independent agencies at this stage, as I say. The large franchises for the most part have a level of comfort that is giving them no reason to make any changes right now. But for those agents that are developing a level of expertise, you're going to find very, very quickly that they are starting to take serious ascendancy within their marketplaces. We already have some examples of some standout agents in different locations that have really started to build a local following around what they do, and have really started to create a lot of chatter in their marketplace about how they're conducting sales. And it's that type of thing in an industry that struggles to find any significant point of difference, in an industry that struggles to create a compelling, realistic reason for their owners to choose them when they're in an appointment appraisal situation. This stuff for the agents that are starting to build that level of expertise almost makes it a no-brainer for clients to choose them. We'll talk a little bit about vendors and what's appealing from a vendor's point of view in our next video. If you have any questions at all, we're always available. Happy to have a chat to you. I can be contacted on 03 8727 0333. You can catch me at David at MSProp. That's M for Mary, S for Sam, prop.com.au. We'd love to chat to you further if this is something that you would find of value in your real estate business. Thank you.